Okay, before we get started with this week's Impact review, there's a topic in TNA right now that's something I need to talk about. I believe it's some of the releases that TNA has made in the past week, and I'm going to go over them. There's been 5 that I've heard about, and that's all I know so far. One of them is Taylor Hendricks. Another one is Crimson. A third one is Joey Ryan. A fourth one is Christian York. And the fifth one is Madison Rayne. Well, 3 of those people were in the gut check competition. That was Hendricks and Joey Ryan, who lost his gut check, and Christian York, who won, along with Taylor Hendricks. So what does this say about TNA when you're getting rid of some of your younger talent that was in the gut check competition? Then you have a guy named like Crimson who a couple years ago, he had a big undefeated streak that they never put a number to, but he had a big undefeated streak, and he was getting pushed to the moon. Then you have somebody like a Madison Rayne, who was a big part of the knockout division, and now you're releasing her, and she is pregnant. So you would think maybe you're opening up yourself to a big lawsuit, maybe for discrimination or something. Oh, I would not be shocked at all if Madison Rayne were to sue TNA for wrongful termination. But that's not all, folks. There's also been reports that wrestlers have not been getting paid on time, as long as 6 weeks behind in their payments. Gee, that's kind of reminds me of 2001. 2000 and 2001 when ECW folded back in the early part of 2001. Could TNA be going down the same road? And if that's the case, what happens to a guy like Sting, who's towards the end of his career? Could he finally make that jump to the WWE and have a match at WrestleMania 30 against Undertaker, which we were about 95% sure we were going to see 2 years ago? And what about guys like Bully Ray? Could he go back to WWE? Or like Jeff Hardy, maybe? I mean, Jeff Hardy's pretty much straightened out his life. But would Vince McMahon really be willing to take a chance on him again? Then some of your up-and-coming stars like a Magnus, would WWE be interested in somebody like that? Or Bobby Roode, or Austin Aries, or people like that, It's like, what really is the future of TNA? Alright, to the live Impact from Las Vegas, Nevada. Austin Aries comes out there with a promo, and he's talking about Option C, where last year he held the X Division title, and he cashed it in for a chance at the World Heavyweight title and defeated Bobby Roode. But now he's got the title again that he won by impersonating Suicide, which I thought this was a great segment last week, where he unmasked, he proved himself to be Austin Aries, and he's going to challenge Bully Ray for the World Heavyweight title. But he calls out Hulk Hogan, brother, and he comes out there, and then it was a good back and forth between Hogan and Aries, and excuse me. But he ends up making a 3-way main event for the X Division title between Aries and Chris Sabin and the guy that formerly was known as Suicide. Now he's known as Manic. But the only thing is, he's got the same outfit that Suicide wore. It just has a big M on it. It's like, God, if you're gonna differentiate between Suicide and Manic, why don't you just give him Why don't you give him some different ring gear, huh? But anyway, it's nice to see that the X Division is being prominently featured on this Impact. They're putting it in a big spot in the main event of the show, which is very good. Bravo to you, Hulkster. So the first match on the card tonight is a BFG Series match between two wrestlers that have gone at each other many times. Because they're in against AJ Styles. But first, oh, this is awesome. God, this is good shit. You got Kazarian and Daniels coming out there dressed up like Siegfried and Roy. Oh, God, this was good shit. But then the match gets started and lasted only a few minutes. AJ makes Kazarian his jobber bitch by making him submit to the Calf Killer. So AJ wins 10 points and he vaults up to third in the standings. So yeah, you know the saying about the little girl with the curl, where when she's good she's very good, but when she's bad she's even better. That kind of defines Mickie James to a T right now, because I'll tell you what, I've never wanted to put a baby in her more than I do right now. Because, oh my God, is she sexy as hell as in this heel role. This is awesome. And she's coming on top of the ladder, and she's talking about the number one contendership match, which is coming on next week's Impact, between Gail Kim and Taryn Terrell. And she's just talking about this for a bit, and it's just having people knocked off the ladder, and it's kind of like falling out of the ugly tree and hitting every branch on the way down. But it was a pretty nice promo by Mickie James, and I would love to put a baby inside her. You're welcome. Alright, then they had a gut check elimination between the two guys that were in it last week. There was the Big O and Skidmark from Tough Enough, Ryan Howell. Well, the Big O gets eliminated. I don't know why he got eliminated, since he actually won the match last week, but evidently they seen something in Ryan Howell that I don't. But anyway, later on he's in the ring with Bruce Pritchard and Al Snow and Danny Davis, and they pretty much said what I would have told him as well. I would have told Ryan Howell no too. So Ryan Howell doesn't get a contract, and I think it was well deserved, because I didn't think he deserved one either. So then you had another BFG Series match between Jay Bradley and Hernandez. This match only lasted about 4 minutes. I wasn't really into it at all. Hernandez got a little bit of help from Chavo Guerrero, and off the distraction, Hernandez wins. He gets the 7 points. But I'm not really sure why Jay Bradley's even in this series. I know he won a tournament to get one of the spots, but it just seems to me that Bradley's going to be a jobber bitch in this series. He's going to be kind of like Robbie E. last year, I think. He's going to be the jobber bitch. So then you had a non-title tag team match between the Bromans, Robbie E. and Jesse Goddard against tag team champions Storm and Gunner. And you really didn't think the Bromans were going to win this match now, did you? But if you're gonna get Robbie E. and Jesse Goddard on television, you might as well put them as a tag team, because you might as well. You could also call them douchebags or us, because it's about what they are. But anyway, Storm and Gunner go over, and that's about what you would expect. All right, so then your 1 hour main event segment is the main event Mafia. Sting and Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe. We now have 3 members of the main event Mafia as of last week. But they're going to announce the 4th member of this group. And they end up announcing Magnus as the 4th member of this group, which I think is a great idea. I mean, I mean, you look at the four guys in the group. You got a guy in his 50s like Sting. You got a guy in his 40s like Kurt Angle. You got a guy in his 30s like Samoa Joe, and you got a younger guy who's in like his mid-20s like Magnus. Only problem I have with this is with the three guys that are with Sting. It's like, gee, at Slammiversary, not one of those guys helped him against Bully Ray, and so Sting never gets another title shot. But I'm not gonna think about that plot hole here because it'll just make my head hurt. But I really like the fact that they got Magnus into this group because you need some younger talent in this group, and it's only going to help Magnus to be he's been associated with Samoa Joe in the past. I mean, they've fought each other and they were the World Tag Team Champions as well. But it's only going to help a guy like Magnus to be associated with a Sting and a Kurt Angle. So I think it's a very good addition to the main event Mafia. All right, then we have another BFG series match: Jeff Hardy against Joseph Park. And it's kind of funny for Jeff Hardy to take on this version of Abyss because he does have a long history with him, but you see Joseph Park in this match, he almost looked like he was in awe of Jeff Hardy wrestling him. I mean, it's like he wasn't so sure of himself when he was doing certain moves to him, like he did a Samoan drop, and he seemed like he was pretty surprised as to what he was doing, what he was getting accomplished. But later on in the match, Jeff Hardy hits the Whisper in the One, and Parks, he knows his blood, and it's like he gets that Abyss thing going on again, where he just loses all control, and he ends up Black Hole slamming the referee for the disqualification. So he's negative 10 points in the hole. He's in dead last place now in the BFG series. And with the DQ win, hey, Hardy gets 3 points, and that's about it. You could say it was actually a pretty good match until the DQ finished. So be interesting to see where they're going to go more with this Joseph Park character, or is he just going to morph back into Abyss, or what's going to happen, you know? So then you come up to the main event for the X Division title, a triple threat match between Aries and Sabin and Manic. Well, a few minutes in, Manic gets pulled to the outside by Ace and Eight, who came out during right about the beginning of the match, and they were out there. And Doc ends up powerbombing Manic on the floor, and he ends up getting carted out, and so we're left with Austin Aries and Chris Sabin. And what we got after that was probably the best match in TNA this year. Oh God, this is just back and forth. I mean, yeah, you had a little bit of ROH in there with a little bit of no selling in that, but God, this match, I mean, it had a little bit of everything. You had your false finishes. You had I mean, Sabin hit his Project Sabin or Hail Sabin, whatever he calls that move. He hit it once and Aries kicked out. Aries hit the Brain Buster and Sabin would kick out, but Sabin ended up hitting the Hail Sabin off the top rope, and your new X Division champion is once again Chris Sabin. But the only thing that's bad about this match is that I think it got overshadowed by the fact that the main event Mafia came out later in the match, and you had Ace and Eights out there, and they both got into it, and even though it was great to see the X Division featured prominently in a big spot like a main event of an Impact show, but it just seems like it got overshadowed by the war between the Aces and Eights and the main event Mafia. Okay, my final thoughts are this. With probably the best match in TNA this year, the Aries and Sabin match, which is what it turned out to be, and Sabin now being the X Division champion. Will he cash in the X Division title for a shot at Bully Ray at Destination X on free TV in 2 weeks? You just wonder what kind of a match could Chris Sabin give a guy like Bully Ray? I mean, and another thing, what if you're gonna put the X Division title on Aries? I mean, granted he did it by some ill-gotten games, I guess you could say, but why would you take the title right off of Aries and put it right back on Sabin where it was? But I will be really interested to see what kind of a match Sabin and Bully Ray can have. I don't know if he can have the same kind of a match that Aries had with Bobby Roode last year to win the World Heavyweight title after he cashed in the X Division title. And Aries has beaten Bully Ray before. So I'm really interested to see what happens in that match. So anyway, I'm out for now, and I'll talk to you all later. See ya.